Good afternoon, XRP Collective, and welcome to another edition of God's Great Reveals. This is reveal number 3, and we're going to go over the buyback flowchart, or as I like to call it, the buyback blessing. We have a few house rules. Everything is noted on this page here. You want to take a moment to read that when you come back and watch it for the second time. Everything contained in this video is our intellectual property. Everything's trademarked and copyrighted. And you may not use it in any other form outside of Twitter. And on Twitter, you can only retweet the content completely in its full format. You can't cut it or paste it or use it anonymously anyplace else. And there's strict rules should someone violate that. And that's in the disclaimer page, so you definitely want to make sure that you read that. Now, we know none of you here would even attempt to do anything like that and dishonor the Lord. But there are some pretty unscrupulous people, and we're just going to cancel them in the name of Jesus right now. So with that said, we're going to move forward. We're going to reveal God's truth and nothing but the truth. We're going to expose FUD. We're not going to put up technical charts. We're not doing technical analysis because when it comes to XRP, none of that is applicable. We're not traders. And anybody that is trading at this time, and this isn't investment advice, you're setting yourself up for what could be a lot of pain and hurt with the movement of XRP and the official public announcement of a settlement with the SEC. Now, the Lord has revealed, and we've posted for months, that this SEC lawsuit has already been settled. And by that, this is just a show. It's probably the best reality show on right now. And one day that will all be revealed. The Lord's revealing it now, whether you choose to believe it or not. But the SEC is participating in a stall tactic with the intent of creating time for the Fed and the President working group to acquire as much XRP as they possibly can. Why? Because when they give XRP its value, that's how they're going to have the capital to take care of the world. The other central banks will be recapitalized because of the value that the Fed puts on the coin. The Lord's revealed what that buyback blessing is. $5,975 gross. And with any tax implications, it would be roughly $4,025. And again, that's an estimate. It uses some basic tax rates. Your results will vary. If you're in a taxable state, a large portion of your XRP gain will be taken from you in the form of income taxes. And these states are getting extremely aggressive when it comes to this. I mean, in all the years that I've been in the tax industry and in accounting industry, I've never seen such a grab of taxpayer wealth than I do right now. And it's the current administration. Now, I'm not judging, but when the facts are there, the facts tell the truth, and whoever is pushing that agenda, they're responsible. And it's interesting that it's all happening right now, isn't it? I mean, years ago they tried to do this, and they sold it as a way for people to move out of a tax deferred IRA and into a Roth IRA, such that you would be able to spread the tax implication from moving from the IRA to the Roth IRA over 5 years. And everybody thought, wow, that's so great. Well, it was a trap. And the accounting industry figured it out. And it was coming at a time pre-9/11. And everybody was kind of scratching their head going, well, why is this happening all of a sudden? They knew that there was a very, very high potential that the income tax system was going to go away. And it was their last grab before that happened. I see a lot of similarities here. I've been doing this for a lot of years. So it quacks like a duck, it walks like a duck. In my book, it's a duck. So what does that mean? Well, it means that you as a taxpayer need to make sure that you're educating yourself and getting proper counsel to avoid as much income tax as you can for 2021. Proper entity structuring, the use of foundations and trusts and 503 entities. Now, some of you may not have any idea what I'm talking about, and many of you probably understand and or already have those vehicles in place. Now, I did a prior post some time back identifying that we were putting together a team to address those issues. That's still in process. The goal is to be able to provide you with a turnkey solution, to know exactly what to do the moment the Fed announces the buyback blessing. Because you won't have a lot of time once that happens. So by putting something together like that for everybody, you'll be able to implement that plan, and we'll have all the resources ready to go. And it'll be just a matter of 1, 2, 3. There's logistics we're working out, there's workflow, there's professional costs and fees. So all of that's being analyzed, but it's nothing that would cause any alarm in terms of cost, because it's cost in relationship to what you're going to be receiving from this blessing per XRP. and your ability to minimize tax going forward. And that's what it's about. See, it's up to us to take responsibility for our tax situation in the near term. And I'm very excited about that, because I know that when it comes right down to it, the tax savings will be so large, and you'll be operating in a way you never thought was possible before. If you've always had a desire to go into ministry, that door will open. If you had a desire to have your own private foundation to invest through, there's huge tax benefits there. And again, I'm not giving tax advice. We're just simply talking as people talking about potential. And again, that's why I'm bringing together a team of professionals who have expertise in each one of those areas. So that we'll have more information coming. So you don't have to concern yourself right now. The biggest thing that you want to be prepared for is if you're in a taxable state and the buyback blessing is announced, already knowing what your potential state income tax is and how you can avoid that by moving and creating your residency in a tax-free state. That can be done very, very quickly. And I'm not going to address what the requirements are by state, but generally it's auto registration, it's having a place to live, whether you're buying a house, you're renting, a bank account, driver's license, and that's the minimum to create residency in that state, such that you're able to do all that before the deal is closed and the paperwork signed and you've received the proceeds. I mean, there's some pretty aggressive states out there. California, 16.4%. 16.4%. Oregon is right behind them. I mean, could you imagine the amount of money that could be saved by simply creating a domicile in Las Vegas, in Nevada, or Texas? And Washington State, write that state off. That state is aggressively bringing in a quasi-income tax on capital gains beginning in 2022. It'll go all the way to the Supreme Court, but they are definitely trying to push that through. So we will see. But let's move on and let's talk about the flowchart. Okay? In the flowchart, I'm going to take a look at this. In the flowchart, this is the best representation that's been revealed by the Lord as to how the process could look. And it breaks down in two different categories. And again, this is just for United States residents. If you live in another country, your country will dictate the terms. Your central bank will be responsible for your XRP. They will handle that transaction. not the United States. So don't get worked up with what you see here, because unless your country has told you you could not acquire XRP through exchanges, then you don't have anything to be concerned about. This is restrictions that were put on U.S. residents. So if you're a U.S. resident and you acquired your XRP pre-lawsuit, then there shouldn't be any concern, because you were able to acquire XRP. And then you would move right to waiting for the announcement, and or what did you do with your XRP on that exchange? If you were in any of the approved or qualified, like Uphold, there's nothing you need to do. Now, if you were over on Binance or any one of the other non-qualified exchanges, according to the SEC, then there's the potential for some issues. Number one, how did you acquire your XRP? Even if it was pre-lawsuit, did you have XRP converted into Bitcoin or Ethereum or some other coin and then convert it back and acquire XRP there after the fact, and they weren't supposed to sell it to you? That could be a concern. But for the majority of people, pre-lawsuit, nothing to worry about. The issue comes up for post-lawsuit purchases. Because again, the Lord identified, and we posted on this, that this was a hard issue. This was a test. This was to make sure that people were following the law and not trying to cheat their way into XRP. A lot of people I saw on TikTok, oh my gosh, I got my XRP. I hid my identity. I used a VPN. Well, they have a legitimate concern. They lied. They broke the law. The SEC will determine what those penalties are. They might give a pass, or they might just seize all your XRP. And that's the penalty for not going to jail. But post-lawsuit, if you stayed with a qualified provider, and the majority of people did, they went to Uphold, since that was primarily the only window that was open, then you're golden. Nothing to be concerned about. Again, you move to the middle section, and it says, where is your XRP? Did you create passphrases on a cold wallet, and your XRP is now sitting in an anonymous sub-account on the ledger? Well, if you did that, you'll have to identify and reclaim that XRP on the ledger in order to participate in the buyback. Keep in mind that going back 5 years, the ledger was intended to bring every single transaction onto the ledger. So this notion that your XRP is sitting on a cold wallet is incorrect. All you have is a passphrase to identify who you are, to claim that XRP sitting in an anonymous sub-account on the ledger. No crypto leaves the ledger. It just moves around within the ledger into accounts, sub-accounts, anonymous, back and forth. So don't think you're walking around with your XRP in your pocket because you have that cold wallet. But everyone will be required to claim their XRP. And that's what we're identifying in the flowchart. If you don't claim it, they can't buy it from you. It doesn't have an owner. Now, what's going to happen if a person doesn't claim it? You have every right not to claim it. No one is saying that right is being taken away from you. But here's how it works. It's like a public to private tender offer in the equity market. Companies go private all the time. They offer a premium on the shares. They send out a notice. You send in your approval. And then they pay the brokerage the agreed upon amount for every share that you own. Now, if for some reason you didn't agree to that and you held on to your shares, the moment that tender offer is over, your shares are worthless because there's, first, no one that wants to buy them, and second, they're no longer listed on exchange. They're not tradable. The same thing would happen with your XRP. I've had a lot of people make claims that they're never selling their XRP and the government's going to have to pry it out of their dead hands. Well, no, that's not even an option for them. Because what will happen is when you don't claim it, or you don't take the offer, which is phenomenal. Can't imagine anybody that would, turn away from this fantastic blessing. There's only two things that would cause that. Number one, pride, and number two, greed. But if those go unclaimed, at a certain point, the feds will just claim them to be abandoned. And we see those proceeds going back into the payment pool to give everybody a pro rata share of what you didn't want to receive. So my suggestion would be is give the Lord all the praise and thanksgiving for this. Get rid of that pride, get rid of that greed, and receive. And say thank you. Be the first one to have your paperwork turned in. Because this is freedom, my friend. This is God's way of blessing his chosen people and opening the door for us to be able to participate in everything that he wants to do through us. And this is where it starts. So once we get to that point where, you identify your cold wallet, and now they know who you are, so they can pay you. The Fed's going to come in and they're going to do a snapshot, just like they did for the Spark token, because they need to know who to pay. They need to know where those coins reside, because that's where the funds will be sent electronically, instantly, through the FedNow system. And the Fed's already said they've been ready with that since last November. All this was supposed to launch in January of this year. But because a new administration set in, it got delayed. And that's where the Fed chose the overnight option, which when decoded, when we cracked that code, it meant 8 to 12 months. Now, the term overnight option is a cooking term for letting food rest 8 to 12 minutes. But in this case, it applies to 8 to 12 months. That's why August was such a big month. That's why September is going to be a huge month. And that's why the blessing comes in December. God has proved through uncountable proofs. And mathematical formulations, and I mean, even using the cycle for Saturn, everything comes back to prove it over and over and over and over and over again. And as I've said before, man could never do that. We don't have the capacity to function like that. For God, it's just what he does. And he did it over 3,000 years ago. And it's in the Bible code, Gematria. We've proven that. So once the Fed announces, then they'll set the timeline through the exchanges to then announce to the holders of XRP, informing them of everything that's going to happen, the dates, when they have to respond to the acceptance paperwork. And once all that happens, everybody just sits back and waits for the payment to be transmitted. Now, they have to get that done this year because they have that 2-year statute that we revealed. Nobody else saw it. Nobody else found it. But we knew where we needed to keep our eye, and that was on Wyoming. And that popped up on July 7th. And the first great reveal talked about Independence Day, Jubilee. Well, that was our Independence Day item. We're the only one that covered it. Nobody else touched it. And that's something. The biggest news to support everything God has said was in that piece of paper. Identifying XRP as a virtual asset. Bitcoin, virtual asset. The 2-year statute. Fed has to hold it for 2 years in order to get perfect title before they can implement it. And they're implementing right at the end of 2023, second to third quarter 2024. Now, during that 2-year window, there can't be any adverse claims. Not one. And the only way to make sure that doesn't happen is they have to make sure that everybody's happy. And how are we all made happy? With a wonderful settlement of $5,975. And that's what the Lord is saying has been set up. So all this other stuff about this and that, it's just a time waster. It's the professional fudsters out there who work for investment firms who are training traders to believe that XRP goes up and then XRP has a pullback. But let me tell you what's going to happen. I talked about this in the other video. This lockout price, it's in stone. The moment we hit that lockout price, as we move up, traders are going to sell out. Anybody that doesn't know about this, they're going to sell out. Who's the winner? The exchanges. Why? Because now they have XRP to sell to the Fed. This is their time to be blessed. And the ignorant sheep are going to sell right into them. And then they've been trained to wait for a pullback. And it's not coming. And it's going to go up again. And they're going to sell more. Wait for a pullback. Doesn't happen. It's going up more. They're going to sell. Wait for a pullback. Doesn't happen. Till they finally sell out, and all they can think about, and all they can post, and all they can go watch on YouTube is people talking about pullbacks. And they're not going to happen. And the moment that price is reached, the market locks up. And it's done. The people that are in have it. The people that aren't in don't. So it's real critical to identify where you're at and where you want to go. And as the Lord said, we're just to rest and be still. I know we covered a lot of material today. I hope it helps. Send your comments and feedback. And we'll look forward to seeing you on the next video. Be blessed. Be His love. In Jesus' name, amen.